Thank you for joining the 16th Annual International State of the State hosted by the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations. We'll be honored to hear soon from Arizona Governor Doug Ducey and former U.S. Senator Jon Kyl, joining us along with other dignitaries in the foreign affairs community. I'm Brian Hall, and I'm a member of PCFR. You may be wondering what the International State of the State is exactly. Well, it's one of a series of addresses that the governor gives each year focused on important priorities affecting our state. In Arizona, we sit at a crossroads between countries, companies, and communities. So the International State of the State is our opportunity to get a more global perspective. Now, the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations has been pleased to host this event for over 15 years. And even though this year looks a little different with our first live broadcast online, the aim of PCFR is the same. So let's take a look together at how PCFR and the International State of the State have served our community by bringing the world to Arizona.
Hello, my name is Tina Waddington, and I'm the Executive Director of the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations. Welcome. We hope you enjoy the program today.
It was 40 years ago that a group of internationally minded Arizonans first banded together to raise awareness about our state's role in the changing global environment. While the first few meetings were held in informal settings and at private homes, this movement quickly grew into a well-organized and respected institution, gaining status as an offshoot of the prestigious New York Council on Foreign Relations. This important affiliation provided PCFR with unmatched access to renowned speakers on a variety of timely topics, from national defense and global security to politics and business. These conversations have provided PCFR with the foundation to grow into what it is today, a major regional international policy center addressing the biggest challenges in our world.
We are thrilled to be hosting the Ambassador to Canada, David McNaughton, and the Undersecretary to Mexico, Carlos Silo. These relationships are so important to the state of Arizona. And they're not only important to our economy and to our prosperity, they're also important for the peace, defense, and security inside our country.
On behalf of the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, my name is Brett Johnson, and I'm the president of the organization. I would like to welcome you all to the 13th Annual International State of the State. We are delighted for you to be able to join us this evening for this historic event.
I want to thank all of you again for joining us this evening. It's my honor to once again be here with the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations and so many of Arizona's closest friends and partners for the 15th International State of the State.
Governor, I think I can safely speak for the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations. Thank you for the leadership you've shown in the area of international trade and international policy. We really thank you very much for your leadership in this area.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for being here.
Please join me in thanking Congressman Colby and Governor Ducey for their inspiring and hopeful comments today.
So last year's International State of the State was memorable. It was on March 11th, 2020, which was the governor's last official in-person event before announcing significant measures to slow the spread of COVID-19. Since then, we've adapted to new ways of connecting with the world in challenging times. At the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, we felt the need to keep us connected to the world and each other. Since then, we have welcomed influential speakers, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken, former Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, along with others, into our own living rooms through web conference technology. And in the middle of a global health and economic crisis, our organization grew as we reached new members looking for perspective and community during these times. So let's hear from some of the inspiring stories from PCFR's own members.
The value that PCFR brings is a strong ability to cultivate and facilitate nonpartisan discussion, focusing on a number of foreign policy issues, but more importantly, focusing on the role the state of Arizona plays in the global arena. I think it is very critical for us to know and understand global affairs overall, but it is as important to know and understand how our local community is impacted by global decisions and policies and vice versa. And I think PCFR provides a grand platform for such conversations to take place.
While participating in PCFR events, I've been lucky enough to meet people that have that global mindset with a regional focus all over the world, from Asia, Europe, Latin America, even Africa, and our neighbors to the north. They are in business, they are in politics, and the political component is especially important in Arizona because when you meet people who have a global mindset, it builds a bridge across the political divide that we have here in the state.
PCFR has showed me that it's possible to live an international life based in Phoenix. Phoenix has always been my home. I love it here. But I also love to live, work, travel all around the world. And meeting PCFR members who have managed to do that successfully has given me hope and empowered me to look for the same in my future career.
For me, the greatest benefits of joining PCFR was honestly having a global community here in Phoenix. It can be kind of lonely coming from an international background and coming back to Phoenix, and having that group of people that not only supports me but makes me feel that I have a place gives me confidence, and I think others should experience that too.
The best part of being a member of PCFR is the network. The events that they set up have allowed me to meet some of the best people, and some of them have become great business contacts, political contacts, and also just close friends.
It is an amazing experience. It provided me with a community that I found here in Phoenix that I really wasn't expecting. Like most of the members, I have lived, worked, traveled around the world, and I really found my home with the PCFR members because it's this group of globally minded individuals who understand your perspective and will teach you more when you learn about theirs.
I'm looking forward to making lifelong friends at PCFR in-person events and just sharing my passion for making Phoenix a more internationally vibrant place. And I think we can really work together to bring the world to Phoenix and bring Phoenix to the world.
Now, we also want to acknowledge the support of private and public organizations across Arizona, including today's title sponsor, Freeport-McMoRan. Each of these organizations have shown a commitment to the foreign affairs community and a commitment to building more understanding about how global issues affect Phoenix and Arizona. So let's take a look at more.
Any business person benefits from exchange of ideas on geopolitics from within Arizona and from discussions of international trade's role in quality job formation. My support for PCFR is personal, however. I'm thankful for consistent, informed, historically cued-in programming on issues that affect my employees and shape everyone's future. Ellen Schultz, WRS Investments.
Freeport-McMoRan is proud to be a longtime title sponsor of the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations. Freeport is committed to engagement with all stakeholders in the communities that we work. The PCFR provides a professional platform for public and private sector engagement with foreign dignitaries, diplomats, academics, and intellectuals to discuss a wide variety of issues affecting international business, as well as the city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona as international business hubs. We look forward to the International State of the State.
Hello, dear Arizona friends. My name is Sanjeev Kabram, Director General and Dean of the Thunderbird School of Global Management. For 75 years, Thunderbird has been a GEM international institution here in Arizona. We are proud partners of the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations. We're about to complete a brand new global headquarters in downtown Phoenix, where PCFR and all the major global organizations in the city will converge. We are also the Secretariat of Phoenix Global Rising, working to make Phoenix a truly global city as part of Arizona being a truly global state. We're proud to be those partners for today and for many years to come. We want to thank Governor Ducey, Mayor Gallego, and incredible civic leaders like Tina Waddington and many others for their partnership in taking us forward during these complicated times. We're looking forward to the international state of the state.
Hello, I'm Claire Seckler-Merkel, and I'm the Senior Director at the Mccain Institute for International Leadership at ASU, and I also currently serve as the Vice President of Pcfr. The Mccain Institute is delighted to once again sponsor the International State of the State. This is our 5th year as a Pcfr partner. The Mccain Institute is an action-oriented institute promoting character-driven leadership and the legacy of Senator John McCain and the McCain family's history of public service and principled leadership. The McCain Institute runs programs focused on human rights and democracy, combating human trafficking, international security and counterterrorism, leadership, and international rule of law in partnership with the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law. Pcfr is an ideal partner for us in Arizona. We look forward to continuing to work together to bring the most timely and informative speakers on a wide range of topics to Pcfr members. The International State of the State is an opportunity for globally minded Arizonans to join together with Arizona's leadership on topics of international importance to our state. Thank you to Governor Ducey and Senator Kyle for joining us today, and thank you to all of you in the audience for being here with us.
In a short while, we'll be honored to hear from our Governor, Doug Ducey. So please stay tuned as we connect you to the next portion of today's live event and our distinguished guests. Thank you again for joining us today.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 16th Annual Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations International State of the State. I'm Claire Seckler-Merkel, Senior Director at the McCain Institute and Vice President of Pcfr. We are delighted to be hosting the International State of the State again this year and pleased that an even larger audience can join us virtually. I'd like to take an opportunity to thank all of our sponsors, without whom none of this would be possible. Our title sponsor, Freeport-McMoRan, our platinum sponsors, ASU Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law, the McCain Institute, Snell and Wilmer, W.R. Schultz Investments, Thunderbird School of Global Management, and our gold sponsors, Salt River Project, APS, and South 32. Silver sponsors, Spencer Fain, Wallace Plesh and Dreyer, and Chicanos por la Causa. And our media sponsor, KJZZ. Thank you to all of you. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Governor Ducey and Senator John Kyle, both of whom are well known to today's audience, and we thank you both for your many years of service to our state. Governor Ducey will speak and then join Senator Kyle for a fireside chat incorporating many of the questions that were asked by members of the audience when you registered. Governor Ducey is the 23rd governor of Arizona. Since 2015, Governor Ducey's focus on opening up opportunity for all has fostered economic growth, trade, tourism, and strong international partnerships. And these efforts are paying off. Arizona has become a top contender for businesses seeking to relocate and expand. Governor Ducey has cut regulations and simplified taxes every year to stimulate job creation and economic growth. And under Governor Ducey's leadership, Arizona has opened trade offices around the globe and continues to foster relationships with the state's international partners. Senator John Kyle served for 18 years in the U.S. Senate, and before that, 8 years in the U.S. House of Representatives. He was elected unanimously by his colleagues to serve as Republican whip. the second highest position in Republican leadership from 2008 to 2013. Senator Kyle was appointed by Governor Ducey to fill the seat of my former boss, the late Senator John McCain. He currently serves as senior counsel at Covington and Burling, is a distinguished fellow in public service at ASU Watts College, and a director of the ASU Kyle Center for Water Policy, which bears his name. Please join me in welcoming Governor Ducey to the podium for remarks, and then we will welcome Senator Kyle to join Governor Ducey in conversation on stage. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us today. We are looking forward to an enlightened conversation.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And I want to say thank you, Claire, and hello, everyone. It's great to see you in person. It's my honor to be here once again with the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations for the 16th International State of the State. Today marks my 6th year at this event, and I want to extend a big thank you to Claire Merkel and the PCFR board for hosting us. Everyone here today has helped put Arizona in the global spotlight for being the best place to live, work, and raise a family, as well as to do business. So I want to start out by saying thank you to everyone for your tireless work. Joining us is someone familiar to many of us, former United States Senator John Kyle. For more than 30 years, Senator Kyle was one of Arizona's most persuasive and passionate voices in Washington, D.C. Senator Kyle has always been an exceptional leader dedicated to public service. And when Arizona needed him in 2018, he proudly came out of retirement to represent our state once again. Senator, I'm grateful for our longstanding friendship and for the support when we are honored that you could join us again today. Thank you. I also want to say thank you for your service to the people of Arizona and the United States. When we met here last year at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Phoenix, the world looked a lot different. At the time, there were still countless unknowns about COVID-19. We hadn't had a declaration of a state emergency yet, and very few of us even knew the benefits of mitigation. Of course, what followed would turn out to be one of the most challenging years of our lifetime. 2020 was tough on our kids, tough on our healthcare workers, our first responders, our businesses. I think it's fair to say that COVID-19 spared no one. I ask that you please join me in a moment of silence for the lives lost from COVID-19 and the families who are grieving the loss of a loved one. If 2020 was the year of the virus, we're quickly seeing that 2021 will be the year of the vaccine. In January, we launched the nation's first 24/7 vaccination site at State Farm Stadium, home of the Arizona Cardinals. I want to thank Michael Bidwell and the Bidwell family and the entire Cardinals organization for their generosity in letting us use State Farm Stadium. This site has been a huge success right from the get-go. We've been able to administer over 7,000 doses of the vaccine every day at the stadium, and we just distributed our 800,000th dose last week. In February, President Biden and Vice President Harris took a virtual tour of Cardinal Stadium and said that it could be a national model for mass vaccination sites around the country. The success of State Farm Stadium shows that through collaboration and partnerships, Arizona is prepared to overcome any challenge we face. Since then, State Farm Stadium has transitioned into an indoor site at Gila River Arena, and we've launched 6 additional state-run sites around Arizona, which are all converting into indoor sites as well. To date, we've distributed over 4.8 million doses of the vaccine, and we continue to ramp up distribution every week. I know it seems like a lifetime ago, but you might recall that our economy was booming when we met this time last year. Arizona was in the top 5 states in the nation for personal income growth, and hundreds of people were moving here every day. Well, today, they still are. Arizona is tied for first in the nation for personal income growth, and we've recovered over 100% of the jobs we lost since the start of the pandemic. Part of the reason for our success is because of the considerable amount of companies that are relocating or expanding right here in our state. Over the past year, we've had many economic development announcements. Amazon, Red Bull, NXP Semiconductors, Zoom, Electrica Mechanica, Align Technology, and I could go on and on all day. Because of our fiscal responsibility and our dedication to economic growth, Arizona remains a top location for growing industry leaders. Arizona is also rapidly becoming a global hub for semiconductor manufacturing. Around the world, there's a shortage of high-tech semiconductor chips. Industry is racing to meet the demand, and they're coming to our state to do it. Just last month, Intel announced a new $20 billion investment in Chandler, the largest private sector investment in Arizona history. With this, Intel will be building 2 new semiconductor fabrication facilities, creating thousands of new high-tech, high-wage jobs. And just last year, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, Taiwan Semi, one of the world's leading technology companies, selected Arizona for its new U.S. advanced semiconductor factory. The project will create over 1,600 new high-tech jobs and generate thousands of additional jobs in the state for suppliers and companies within the industry. Qualcomm, ON, Benchmark, Electronics, NXP, these are all semiconductor companies that have chosen Arizona for their operations. These companies have helped create more than 22,000 manufacturing jobs, and they've positioned Arizona as the number 4 state in the nation for semiconductor exports. As you can see, Arizona has become the premier global destination for semiconductor manufacturing. I'm also pleased to announce that the Arizona Commerce Authority has successfully launched international trade offices in Chihuahua, Guanajuato, and Tel Aviv, Israel, in addition to Arizona's trade office in Mexico City. Despite the impacts of COVID on the economy, international travel, and global trade, our offices are experiencing unprecedented levels of demand for export assistance service. Our 4 trade offices have had over 275 assistance engagements with Arizona companies this fiscal year. In other words, our trade offices are helping businesses in aerospace, healthcare, and defense emerge from the pandemic stronger than ever. In the years ahead, we have an opportunity to build on our relationship with Mexico. In 2019, over 1/3 of all Arizona exports were destined for Mexican markets, and our total trade hit a new record, $17.5 billion. Last year, in spite of a global pandemic, Mexico was still Arizona's #1 trading partner. We want to maintain that working relationship. You might recall that my first international trip after being elected in 2014 was to Mexico City. And then, after being reelected, my first international trip was to Mexico City. We're going to continue to pursue policies and take actions that strengthen our trade relationship with our southern neighbor. Here in the 62nd year of the Arizona-Mexico Commission, I want to say a special thank you to Sonora Governor Claudia Pavlovich, whose partnership, friendship, and leadership have helped make Arizona-Mexico relationship the strongest it's ever been. I also want to welcome Mexico's newest ambassador to the United States, Esteban Moctezuma. I had a call with Ambassador Moctezuma just this morning, and I look forward to continuing to work with him to strengthen Arizona's relationship with Mexico. We've also expanded our relationship with our neighbors to the north. Today, more than 500 Canadian companies operate in Arizona, which employ over 140,000 Arizonans. Just last year, Canada had the most direct investment projects in Arizona of any country in the world. And at a total of $2.6 billion, Canada continues to be Arizona's #2 trading partner. Under the USMCA, Arizona's relationships with Canada and Mexico are realizing their full potential. Our regional supply chains have never been more important, especially in industries such as aerospace, automotive, and healthcare technology. Through the work of our Mexico City and Chihuahua offices, we forged a relationship with Mexico's Aerospace Federation to identify supply chain opportunities that can be filled by Arizona suppliers. And through the work of our Guanajuato office, we're working with Mexico's automotive hub to incorporate Arizona's suppliers in this industry supply chain. Arizona couldn't be more proud of the partnerships we share with all of our friends around the globe. Our international exports dipped slightly because of COVID-19, but think about the trade growth we had before COVID. In 2019, Arizona's exports to France increased by over 20%. Exports to Israel increased by over 26%. Exports to the United Arab Emirates increased by over 83%. And for India, exports jumped by almost 523%. So to all of these trade partners and to all of Arizona's friends in Singapore, Taiwan, China, Germany, Malaysia, and everywhere else around the world, thank you for your friendship and your partnership. After a year of turmoil and challenges, I'm pleased to say that our state is returning to normal. All of our schools are fully reopening. We entered our next phase of the mitigation strategies with our local businesses, and we're on pace to add 300,000 jobs by next spring. We also continue to lead in trade, in policy innovations, in growing international relationships, and in promoting new partnerships. I look forward to seeing what we accomplish together next. Thank you for having me, and God bless.
All right, folks. Well, this is a little confusing. We had just gotten used to running Zoom meetings and similar meetings, and now we've got an opportunity to do both a live audience and Zoom, and I'm really confused. So, and I'm not sure it's all good news either. I was kind of getting used to having meetings in my tennis shorts or Levi's, and now with a live audience as well as Zoom, we've got to both dress up and figure out how to make our Zoom work. So in any event, we're glad you're all joining us, whether in person or by Zoom. And it's my pleasure to throw some questions to the governor. Now, first of all, I've got to say that was a great report that you gave. We have every reason to be optimistic, I think. I'd like to, and I'm only going to ask you one question about COVID, but I do want to just make sure that everybody understands where we're going in the future. I mean, it was a great report about what we've done. Where would you assess we are now in the state, and what can we look forward to in the near future?
Well, thank you, Senator. And again, thank you for doing this. It's always a pleasure to see you. And I remember this time last year and all the unknowns that were in front of us, and what a difficult and challenging year it's been for everyone. We are on the last lap of this marathon right now. I do think it's important that we stay vigilant, we stay responsible. I think that Arizonans have demonstrated an immense amount of common sense through this pandemic. We're at 4.8 million vaccinations, which is really kind of hard to get your head around, considering Operation Warp Speed and the fact that the vaccination in and of itself is a modern medical miracle. So the focus right now is to make sure we get the vaccine out as far and wide as we can get it. I guess the good news is our supply is outstripping our demand. So everyone that has wanted a vaccine has gotten it. We've got some folks that are out there. There's some vaccine hesitancy. There's some historical apprehension. out in our communities. I see David Adami is here today, and I want to thank him for his help in reaching out into our minority communities. But we're going to continue to work with the administration to get the vaccine local, to get it mobile. You'll likely see less mass vaccination sites and see more of the vaccine at your internist and CVS and Walgreens, and we'll continue to educate the public. We've really got very few people that are a hard no on it not getting the vaccine. We've just got folks that are young and healthy, or maybe want to wait and see, and we want to help speed that up. But I think in terms of our school reopenings and our business reopenings, and all you have to do is really look at our metrics on how Arizona performed in comparison to other places, along with responsible, balanced mitigation steps along the way. So we're going to put this behind us soon enough, but at the same time, we want to continue to promote and advocate for those vaccinations.
You've always had a slogan that Arizona is open for business. It sounds to me like you're sticking with it. Your report discussed the great strides that Arizona has made in advancing our role as a key semiconductor hub. We've been a leader in the country in the past, and now we're really a global leader, as you've pointed out. And you noted the fact that Intel is expanding, that TSMC has been attracted to Arizona, and Samsung also. What are you doing to expand this to other parts of the industry and, in fact, to other industries?
You know, in economic development, nothing really succeeds like success. And Arizona's reputation and the fact in these competitive type situations of Taiwan Semi and Intel's $20 billion investment, this has really created, I think sometimes an overused word, but an ecosystem of something that is high tech, because there is so much supplier and distribution supply chain that surrounds this. And we've enjoyed Intel here for years, and we've seen how it's transformed Chandler and much of the East Valley. Taiwan Semi, which could have gone anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, choosing Arizona in this situation will be something that will help transform the state. And we're talking about tens of thousands of jobs here. We're talking about Arizona having more manufacturing jobs today than construction jobs in a booming development economy. And I think we're blessed. I see Sandra Watson here, and we're actually having the meeting at the Arizona Commerce Authority. I think our Commerce Secretary and Sandra and her team are better than anyone else in the country. And I think Arizona's got the right mixture of a great place to live, low tax, light regulation, high quality of life, access to great education across the board with our embrace of school choice. So I think our pipeline has never been more full. If you remember in my second State of the State, I was able to say I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my partner in growing Arizona's economy. That was then California Governor Jerry Brown. But I think a lot of the decisions that other states are making are having CEOs and decision makers look and say, I want to go somewhere where they're thinking long-term, and they actually embrace the ability to build a business and scale a company. And they find that an asset in their state, and they're picking Arizona.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Arizona education as a key component of this. Clearly, we need to educate people who can fill these jobs, all of the jobs that are created by the semiconductor industry. And I know that education, K through 12, and even advanced education has always been a key component of your administrative, of your ideas as well as your efforts. Where are we going with education in the state? And I wish you'd address both the K through 12 and our higher education, both to respond or to rebound from COVID, but more importantly, in the long run, to meet the challenges of industries like the semiconductor industry, for example.
Sure. It's been said, if you want to know a family's values, look at their budget. And if you look at the Arizona state budget, you'll see that our education investment is far and away our #1 line item in terms of spending and investment in our state. I think $6.4 billion additional dollars since 2015. And even in a year of recession and pandemic, we were able to add $400 million to that investment. But you know me, Senator, and I don't want to make it about the level of spending. It's got to be about the results that we're getting inside our schools. I think you may have seen U.S. News and World Report, top K-12 schools in the country today. Arizona has 2 schools in the top 20. Arizona's kids are leading in improvement in math and reading. We know how to educate a child in the state of Arizona, but we face some of the same challenges that every other state is facing in terms of our low income, high free and reduced lunch areas. Of course, in Arizona, we've got our tribal nations and our rural areas. So I would say step 1 right now in K-12 is we've got to get our kids caught up. Very few kids, it's a very special and unique kid that can actually learn via Zoom, especially in the younger grades. So those additional dollars on what we call Project Rocket, which will now become Project Momentum, are going to go to after school programs, weekend programs, summer schools, acceleration academies, one-on-one instruction, and tutoring to get people caught up and to grade level. But the other thing that we've seen success in is school choice. Arizona leads the nation, 500 charter schools, educating over 200,000 kids. If you take those 200,000 kids' accomplishments, that's the #1 or tied for the #1 state in the country. And it's brought our district schools along with it. I couldn't make some of the claims I'm making if we didn't have the improvement across the board. So again, it's about being targeted, getting where we have the achievement gap. Distance learning has not been good for those kids in low income areas. Oftentimes a family of 2 or 3, how many screens does a family have? How many computers does a family have? So that's going to be the top focus. And then I think we're very blessed in our state to have leaders like Michael Crow at Arizona State University and Bobby Robbins at the U of A that have actually talked to these business leaders and made adjustments in their engineering programs to add capacity. At Arizona State University, the Fulton School of Engineering has gone from 7,000 students to over 20,000 students. And the folks at Raytheon will say that the top kids that they want to hire are the kids coming out of the University of Arizona. So I think that kind of boots on the ground mentality from leaders inside our universities, and then a pipeline of K-12 that's not only putting the bright kids into universities and college, but everything in between that is equally positive in terms of our community colleges, career and technical education, vocational training. In a growing state like this, there's a lot of ways to pursue your American dream. And we want to make sure that our young people and our people that need to get reskilled and upskilled have access to all those opportunities.
You alluded to the fact that we had some help in this with some of our neighbors who weren't doing quite as well. And I think of a place like New York, for example, which for years, for decades, really led the country in attracting some of the key, particularly financial businesses and others. California was hugely attractive. But the news nowadays is that they aren't attracting the businesses. The folks are coming here instead. You alluded, or you didn't allude to, you specifically mentioned the educational component. What are some of the other things that we've been doing, that the administration has been doing, and we've been doing right to attract these businesses to Arizona, including international business?
I think many of the things that Arizona has been doing that people see and it differentiates us is the idea that we're have a low tax state, and that we've improved and simplified our taxes each year, that we've lightened regulations. We've literally eliminated nearly 1,900 regulations. This is the equivalent of $130 million tax cut to the marketplace without touching the general fund $1. Paying down debt, making sure that we're a state that's low liability and litigation. And then, of course, in Arizona, we've got to have access to water and affordable electricity that's reliable, incredibly important through our tough and some of our extreme seasons. And then the fact that we focus on education. I mean, we wouldn't have the amount of growth that we have in our state if people weren't finding excellent places in which to educate their children. So I think if we stay focused on that formula, and if you look around the country, Americans are smart. They vote with their feet. Arizona's in the top 5 net in-migration states in the country. And I think that you would see other states that are enjoying this kind of growth are following the same pathway, same map to success.
Now, you mentioned in-migration. Of course, that raises another question, which is a problem for the state of Arizona because we're on the front line of the illegal immigration issue, which has just you've taken a leadership role in that by through a number of actions. Maybe I should just ask you to detail what you think are the most important things that you've been able to do and will continue to do what we can as a state, recognizing that this is a federal responsibility.
Yes, I appreciate you making that note, because there really has been a dereliction of duty at the federal level on this. We know in Arizona, the border is something we always have to deal with. It's always an issue in our state, but it was largely stabilized at this time last year. We actually had Sheriff Mark Daniels in Cochise County, who I think is one of the finest sheriffs in the country on this issue, saying we were at managed calm. And with the Biden administration's change in policies around the migrant protection protocols, Title 42 and Safe Third Nation, which is an international norm in terms of harbor, it's basically been an incentive or a magnet to people to make this dangerous journey. So I come at it first and foremost from a border security standpoint, because we know in many ways the cartels can have an outsized influence on that southern border. They're taking advantage of families that do want to find a better way of life. But I think there's a way to take some good policies that largely stem the tide of mass migrations for asylum issues that traditionally, when they are heard, are, I think 90% of the time, do not result in relief, so that we don't have the dangerous journey that's happening with young boys and girls, and we know who the bad guys are: the drug cartels, the human traffickers, and the child sex traffickers. And if we could come at it from that standpoint of securing and stabilizing that border to the best of our ability, and then call on our Congress to actually act around immigration reform. And I know the amount of hours and blood, sweat, and tears that you've put into that. And I think we've been over a decade with little to no action. There seems to be some conversation around that, but step one is border security, which of course, national security and public safety for Arizona, and then calling on Congress to actually use its Article 1 powers to solve some problems.
Thank you for recognizing that. Yeah, there's a consensus for a strong legal immigration program in the United States. I don't know of anybody that doesn't support that, but it's the problem of the cartels taking advantage of people at our border that have just really created a problem. And I know you've done your best for Arizona to try to help deal with that. I want to change the subject a little bit here to entrepreneurs. We recently had a ballot proposition in Arizona, which we argued did not do any good with respect to our small businesses in the state. A lot of people are trying to become entrepreneurs just within our state. Others are trying to move here. What are we doing to foster that entrepreneurship? And how do you see that in the future for our state?
So I think Arizona is a great place to build a business and scale a business. I think we've got a lot of evidence around that, but policy matters. And some of these decisions matter. I feel very fortunate that I have a legislature where we can actually move good ideas through. So I think the initiative that you're talking about was one that I don't know that it was ever fully presented because of how much noise we had in the election cycle. But if the objective of Proposition 208 was to get additional dollars into K-12 education, I believe that we're going to be able to accomplish that. Of course, we will accomplish that because we're going to respect the will of the voters. And some of the issues are in front of the Supreme Court right now, but we have some very good tax reform that is also moving in our state house and our state senate. And I'd say with leaders like Ben Toma and J.D. Mesnard, with chamber leaders like Karen Fan and Rusty Bowers, they know how important those dynamics of keeping Arizona attractive and competitive have been to our growth. And growth is a gift. Anybody who's been in business knows that it's better than the alternative, but it can also breed sometimes some arrogance or condescension that we need to find money elsewhere, and we can promote a bad idea or pick on a certain class of folks. That's what I think you see some of the states have done, where there is an exodus from those states, not only of producers, but of people looking for a better quality of life. And Arizona has been a home to many of them. 73% of our adults here were born somewhere else. And I don't know that you could have a better leading indicator than people pack up their U-Haul truck and say, that's where I want to live. That's where I want to raise my family. Oftentimes people have said that's where they want to retire once they're done with their career. Now they're saying they're going to come here and build their career.
Well, I did want, thank you for that, because we talk about the big companies that have come here, but and international corporations, but we've also, the bulk of our jobs are really the small businesses, many of which just grew up here. And
they're the job creators.
They're the job creators, and they're the ones we need to make it very comfortable for to succeed. Another thing that you need education, and I guess you could define education as part of our infrastructure, but there's a lot more to our infrastructure too. That's much in the news these days. How would you describe what we're doing to develop our infrastructure to assist our economic competitiveness?
Well, because we made difficult decisions in the first year of the administration, really tightened our belt and got our spending in line, I think it's made our state attractive to people from the outside as well as businesses. But that gift I was talking about in terms of growth also requires investment to be responsible with the growth. And part of that is infrastructure. So you've seen investments in I-10, in US 93, and I-17, and the widening of these freeways. One thing that I will say, and I was anxious or eager to work with the previous administration on it, and if this administration can do some responsible things around infrastructure, we know if you look at an infrastructure heat map of the United States, the eastern United States is highly developed, where you have the real migration of the population, the preferred places to live in our region, yet we are lacking in infrastructure. So we've got $100 million in the budget that we're going to be able to put into infrastructure, and that's real money in a state of our size. And some of the ideas, some of them in the federal package could also be real accelerators.
One of the things I was just talking to a friend yesterday about is the fact that because he's talking about coming to Arizona, moving his family out here. I said, one of the things you don't see because it's kind of in the ground, but our infrastructure is new. This is a new place. The roads are new. The buildings are new. It's just not like the old East or Midwest where a lot of things are crumbling, and what they're finding out is a lot of stuff under the ground needs to be dug up and replaced because it's been there for so long. We've got an opportunity here to do it right from the start. And I gather that's part of your initiative in moving forward with a state plan to make sure that both the hard infrastructure and then things like our air and water are available for a long time to come for everybody who would like to enjoy not just the economic opportunities, but the best environment in the whole world here in Arizona. We talk about water a little bit. People should not be concerned about a lack of water in Arizona, though it doesn't rain very often, because we have always anticipated the fact that we're going to be a little short on water, so we need to really take care of what we have. Talk just a little bit about how you approach that and what our general philosophy about solving water problems has been. In fact, we had to deal with one just recently that we got ahead of the curve in order to prevent something bad from happening.
Well, Senator Kyle, you've been the hero on water leadership and innovation in our state's modern history. And of course, it started a long time ago with Carl Hayden, and we've had bipartisan leadership on this in between with people like Bruce Babbitt and John Rhodes that have really stepped up. And I want to say thank you for your mentorship on the drought contingency plan that we were able to pass in 2017. It was bipartisan. It was also the most aggressive advance in water policy since the 1980 Groundwater Management Act. But this is really an issue that you do pay it forward on. You never enjoy the fruits of it in terms of your administration, because we've got to be thinking decades ahead. And I've been lucky that I've been able to pick your brain at what's needed at places like ADWR. We have done generational projects in the state of Arizona, like the Roosevelt Dam, like the Central Arizona Project. There is likely innovation and a generational project ahead of us. It won't happen in this administration, but the groundwork and framework can be laid. And I think also some of the investment can be set up. And I know that this is also something that's incredibly important to Speaker Rusty Bowers every time he sees me. And I think that's part of being a son of rural Arizona, and a direct relation to Wade Noble in Yuma has got on his to-do list. And I'm committed that we're going to do even more beyond the Drought Contingency Act before this administration's finished.
I appreciate that. It's one of the success stories, because as you say, it's not a partisan issue at all. People back east say, well, how have you managed your water? Because it doesn't rain much in Arizona. And the answer is, as you've said, we have anticipated problems before they became a crisis, and we've tackled them, and they haven't been partisan kinds of Democrat, Republican kinds of issues. So we've been able to generate a consensus around a solution. They haven't necessarily been easy, but because everyone understands the importance of it, we've gotten ahead of the problems, and we've been able to therefore to be in a good position when the drought comes to be able to deal with the problems of it and so on. Well, that's just a little paid announcement for folks that may be watching that don't know as much about Arizona as we do, to say, don't worry about the water issue. We got plenty of water.
And everybody that's moving here is building a swimming pool. So
yeah, that's right. But we know how to take care of it. And if you come here, you'll be taking care of it too. So, well, let's just wind it up here. Anything, I mean, we've covered a lot of territory, but you've got a lot of initiatives. You presented some new initiatives, the legislature and so on. So what are you working on the last couple of years here that we need to know about?
Well, I'm a much wiser and smarter governor today than I was in 2015. And we've got legislature. I'm blessed with a wonderful staff. And we've got our yet in front of those chambers. We're very proud that we were able to get the gaming compact extended and put forward. We see opportunity tax reform around opportunities to make our ballot initiatives better and more effective, as well as water infrastructure and getting the broadband out to our rural areas. The pandemic did advance some things and show us that the conveniences that we enjoy in the urban areas, if we're going to have equality and opportunity for all, we want to make sure that everyone can enjoy those types of things, and the government can play a role in that in partnership with the private sector.
Well, thanks. I think we'll just conclude with a general thought that I'd like your comment on, but the bottom line here is that we have a great environment on which to build on, but you're not taking it for granted because, as you noted, public policy matters. So in about 30 seconds or so, make a commercial for why public policy matters so much and why we've been so successful here because of it.
Well, I think it's in my first year, I came home and I said to my wife, Angela, there's a reason they call these guys lawmakers. They make the law. So it's important, one, elections matter, leaders matter, and then the ideas that you advance really make a difference. And I think Arizona's been a model of taking good leaders and good policy and making incremental steps while making sure we keep the best of what Arizona is, and keeping Arizona. We've made it a better place, and a place where anyone can build their life and career and chase down their definition of the American dream. And that's what I want to keep doing.
What a great way to end our conversation here today. Because we are partly in person and partly in Zoom, it's my obligation to close the meeting here. But I thank all of you, both in person and those of you who are watching virtually. We really appreciate your optimistic message, Governor, and thank you all for watching.